There's kind of a through line from the conversations that we had when he first started talking about things and first started feeling like it was maybe okay to talk about things, to putting pen to paper and starting to write a book.
From the online chatter, people were saying the fallout from that secret MAGA dinner had gotten completely out of control. Rumors began circulating about a recording in which Usha allegedly confronted Erika, reminding her who truly ran the show in that family. And if you've been following these events, you know nothing here is accidental. It all began with that viral, theatrical moment when Erika wrapped herself around J.D. Vance as if they were performing a scene from a romantic movie. The way she held him, her hand resting on his head, suggested more than a simple greeting. And under the bright lights, J.D. nearly forgot his wife was standing right there. That moment left the entire room in stunned silence, but J.D. didn't stop there. He went even further by implying that his wife was too sensitive. A brief remark, yet enough to ignite a public uproar. Because when you make a woman like Usha Vance vulnerable in front of thousands, consequences are inevitable. The online community started buzzing. They claimed Erika wasn't just seeking attention anymore. She appeared to be aiming for a space she had no right to occupy. And indeed, Usha had reason to be cautious. Rumors suggest the mega insiders were plotting to position Erika and JD as the new power couple before the 2028 election. This isn't about faith or ideology anymore. It's about fame, control, and image. But no one anticipated that Usha Vance would stay silent. She's furious and prepared to reveal everything happening behind the scenes. There were calculated smiles, secret handshakes, and deals sealed over candlelit wine. And it seems this time, the secrets are ready to surface. If the rumors hold any truth, Usha may not only have put her husband's reputation at risk, but also shaken those who thought they could manipulate her. So buckle up, because this story is accelerating faster than any political campaign. People are starting to see that the signs of this rift have been present for a long time. They didn't appear overnight. They were hidden in the subtle, overlooked details.
No one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President JD Vance. I do. And that's why I'm so blessed to be able to introduce him tonight.
Some say JD put her through everything. And the latest whispers might have been the final breaking point, because just a few days ago, social media erupted. People began claiming that JD Vance had grown far too close to Erika Kirk, the widow of Charlie Kirk. Remember, Charlie had been gone for less than 3 months. Yet there was JD, holding Erika in front of thousands, as if they were two leads in a romantic film. The public was stunned. It all happened at a Turning Point USA ceremony where JD was the guest speaker. And the way he embraced her didn't carry the tone of a professional greeting. It carried something deeper, something everyone in the audience could feel, but no one dared to voice. She held him tightly, her hand resting on the back of his head, a gesture so intimate it sent the internet into chaos. They looked effortlessly comfortable together. Then Erika took the microphone and said something that froze the entire room. JD reminds me of Charlie. One sentence. Yet it was enough to shift the entire narrative. Within minutes, the internet exploded and theories began to spread everywhere.
Before J.D. Vance makes his run for president, he will be married to Erika Kirk. And he's going to do this by using Paulina privilege. He is going to either push or somehow convince Usha Vance to file for divorce. And he'll use that to take it to the church to get an annulment, because neither of them were baptized at the time of their marriage. And he will say that he tried to convert her and that it was just too hostile at home. Then his only marriage in the eyes of God will be towards Erika.
Did she really say that? The crowd froze in disbelief. No one knew whether to clap, laugh, or stay silent. The atmosphere turned heavy, tense, and strangely uncomfortable. Someone online even joked that they should book a private room before election season begins. But in reality, no one was laughing anymore, because that moment had crossed a line. It was no longer funny. It was a public mistake, witnessed by everyone yet understood by few. JD could have stepped back, stayed quiet. But instead, he went further, pulling his own wife into the chaos, right there on stage.
Putting your hands in a man's hair when you hug him, that is a very intimate thing to do. And if you're wondering why I'm talking about that, it's because we're talking about the hug heard around the world. And everyone was trying to comfort JD Vance by showing this image where he had his hand on his hip. But if you watch the video, this is not what it looks like. His hand brushed up, like, he's not the problem here.
It seemed like an ordinary comment, but to those who knew the truth, It felt like an invisible wound. Usha had gone to church with him every Sunday, raised their children with faith, and stood beside him through every step of his political rise. Yet, in that moment, he spoke as if she had never been enough. Every emotion showed on her face: pain, disappointment, and a silence so deep it was almost unbearable. That wasn't love. It was humiliation, exposed beneath the bright lights before thousands of watching eyes. And what made it worse, just moments earlier, he had embraced another woman in plain view of the public.
My background is very different from JD's. I grew up in San Diego, in a middle-class community. With two loving parents, both immigrants from India, and a wonderful sister. That JD and I could meet at all, let alone fall in love and marry, is a testament to this great country.
The internet erupted. Thousands of comments poured in, and fans were outraged. Headlines and screenshots flooded every media outlet. But Erika wasn't finished yet. She grabbed the microphone once more and repeated that JD reminded her of Charlie. This time, no one tried to hide their reaction. The atmosphere shattered completely, and the timing couldn't have been worse. People described it as watching a media disaster unfold in slow motion, a scene you couldn't look away from. Theories spread instantly. Some claimed J.D. Vance would divorce his wife and marry Charlie Kirk's widow in 2026, forming the new power couple of the conservative world. And disturbingly, many believed this wasn't just emotion, but a carefully staged campaign. They spoke of a sacred silence, a coded way of replacing Usha with Erika, presenting them as the ideal embodiment of their faith and politics. But those who see deeper know this was no romantic moment. It was a public performance. Social media called it a soft launch, a secret debut before the real storm arrives. A power triangle is taking shape and it seems unstoppable. Whispers continue to spread that JD might be considering leaving Usha, not only because of personal distance, but because of image. Because in politics, what's often at stake isn't the heart, it's the brand. Some sources even claim JD's true goal is to craft the perfect narrative of loss and redemption. A dramatic, faith-tinged story meant to move hearts and position him for the 2028 campaign.
Holy shit, they are trying to replace Usha Vance with Erika Kirk. Because Erika Kirk and JD Vance is their Christian nationalist wet dream. And you won't convince me otherwise. What is this? What is this body language? When did we start putting our hands up in the hair of our friends when we hug? Yeah, no. You don't. This is weird. Oh, and then there's this one. JD, why are your hands so low? There's no reason for them to be on her hips, but there they are. But if that's not enough, here is her introducing him at Turning Point.
I am tremendously blessed and honored tonight to be able to introduce to you a very, very dear friend and his wife. They are incredible. And I see no one will ever replace my husband. No. But I do see some similarities of my husband in JD and Vice President JD Vance. I do.
And if you're not convinced yet that they're trying to replace her with Erika Kirk, this is him when asked by a student about him and his wife's difference in their religious beliefs, and he ends it with this.
Do I hope eventually that she is somehow moved by the same thing that I was moved in by church? Yeah, I honestly do wish that, because I believe in the Christian gospel, and I hope eventually my wife comes to see it the same way.
He wants her to fall in line. He wants her to be a Christian nationalist just like him. And if he can't convince her, he'll find a new one.
In this narrative, Erika is portrayed as the redeemed widow, and JD as the man of faith and virtue, a flawless fairy tale. Polished on the surface, yet shadowed underneath. But they overlooked one crucial detail. Usha Vance is not the kind of woman to sit quietly and watch others rewrite her life as part of a media plan.
My wife told me, she asked me for advice. Erika asked me for advice on how she should tell her children that their father had been. She asked my wife how to tell her beautiful kids that their father and my very dear friend is no longer with us.
They had completely misjudged Usha and underestimated the strength of a wounded woman. Rumor has it that after that dinner, Usha began to observe every glance, every forced smile, every insincere handshake. She noticed it all. Usha wasn't the quiet wife or the absent housewife. She was sharp, composed, and exceptionally intelligent. She started connecting the dots piece by piece, tracing everything back to the moment this media storm first began. And remember this, Usha Vance wasn't just smart. She was brilliant. She graduated summa cum laude from Yale, earned a master's degree from Cambridge, and completed a doctorate at Yale Law School. She didn't need to speak loudly to prove her strength. She only needed to wait for the right moment. Even JD himself once admitted, "She's smarter than I could ever imagine." I'm lucky to call her my wife. So why did the so-called strategists within the MAGA circle believe Usha Vance wouldn't see through this entire publicity stunt? The very idea is an insult. And here's what few dare to say out loud. JD Vance's 2028 run is no longer just speculation. Private dinners are happening. Secret meetings with major donors are being held. Checks are being written. Campaign advisors are quietly emerging behind the scenes. The political machine is already starting to move, quietly, deliberately, behind closed doors. But there's a problem. A problem big enough to threaten the entire plan. Usha Vance, she isn't white, and in certain corners of the MAGA movement, that remains an unspoken barrier. No matter how successful, educated, moral, or loyal she is, the bias still lingers deep within the conservative base. Usha is an Indian American woman, brown, brilliant, resilient, and proud. She was born Hindu, raised Christian, and has stood by JD throughout his entire political journey. Yet to a few extremists, she was never truly one of them. That warped perception has become the wall standing between JD and the presidential nomination he desperately craves. And then came Erika Kirk, with perfect timing, perfect lighting, and a flawless narrative. A beautiful white Christian widow, gentle yet strong, hailed as a symbol of faith by conservative activists. For the MAGA media machine, Erika was a dream wrapped in an image. Pain turned into purpose. Faith turned into strategy. When she started appearing beside JD, the lights, the colors, the smiles, even their coordinated presence, seemed almost too polished. It didn't feel organic anymore. This wasn't coincidence. This wasn't fate. This was choreography, a performance engineered to perfection, crafted to create the illusion of the ideal couple conservative America was waiting for. The strategy was calculated, too smooth, too flawless, too intentional. Every speech aligned, every photo was carefully selected. The entire campaign appeared less like authenticity and more like a carefully staged production. Then one comment surfaced online. I'm just asking, but are JD Vance and Erika Kirk a little too close? A simple question, yet it ignited a media firestorm. TikTok, X, and television shows exploded with speculation. Because, let's be honest, on one side, you have Usha Vance, an intelligent, dignified, accomplished woman of color who carried herself with grace amid a public storm. On the other, Erika Kirk, a white conservative widow, the very image of what the movement's audience wanted to see. And that's the tragedy. This is no longer a love triangle. It's a war of images. Usha represents intellect, depth, and identity. Erika represents nostalgia, optics, and marketable appeal. The strategists chose branding over authenticity. And that's what makes this situation dangerous. But make no mistake, Usha isn't crumbling. Not at all. She's watching, observing every move, every staged photo, every calculated smile. According to insiders, she's been gathering evidence, taking notes, and waiting for the perfect moment to strike. And when that day arrives, many believe she could expose JD's entire facade, shattering his campaign in an instant, because by now, nothing is subtle anymore. Everyone within the movement understands. For JD to climb higher, he needs a perfect image beside him, a partner who fits the traditional conservative mold. Sources suggest the push for JD and Erika goes far beyond rumor. It's being fueled by wealthy donors and political strategists who see opportunity, not integrity. As for Usha, she's gone quiet, but not because she's defeated. Who could blame her? Especially when Erika appears to be reveling in the attention. She hasn't denied a single rumor. She's smiled in every photo, posed for every article, and even reposted viral clips as if they were part of her own rising narrative. But here's the chilling part. Everything seems to be unfolding exactly as planned. JD Vance has begun making regular appearances at religious gatherings, meeting pastors, and speaking at faith-based conferences. He's begun weaving Usha's religious background into his own public story, reshaping their family's image to align with the MAGA narrative. So maybe, just maybe, this was never really about love at all. It's about image, strategy, power. and about the question J.D. Vance might be asking himself. Who would America most readily accept standing beside him when he finally announces his campaign for president? When Charlie Kirk passed away, many assumed Erika would take a step back, grieve privately, stay away from cameras, and heal quietly. But instead, she did the opposite, and spectacularly. Within weeks, Erika was at the heart of Turning Point USA. She held press conferences, gave interviews, graced magazine covers, and quickly positioned herself as the resilient widow of faith. Almost overnight, she became the face of a new generation of conservatives. And truth be told, she played the game flawlessly. Her social media surged. Her podcast soared to the top. And in the eyes of the movement, she became not just a widow, but a brand.
Let everyone see what true evil is. This is something that could impact a generation and generations to come.
This Erika Kirk Israeli honeypot story just got way more sinister.
Brands lined up to collaborate with her. Prominent figures in politics called her the future of American conservatism. She knew how to cry on cue, how to quote scripture, and how to appear as the symbol of pain turned into redemption. It was the perfect image. Touching, graceful, and powerful. And now she was young, camera-savvy, and most importantly, closely connected to the vice president. This wasn't just an opportunity. It was a media triumph. And you can be sure those behind the scenes saw it long before anyone else. Because in the world of MAGA politics, appearances and loyalty sell far better than truth. Many strategists don't even bother to hide it anymore. They openly say what others only dare to whisper. Erika Kirk was seen as the missing piece in J.D. Vance's ideal image, a blonde, Christian, all-American symbol in the eyes of conservative voters. The perfect vision of a future First Lady. And J.D.? He stepped into that narrative as if it had been written for him. His every move lately has carried a message. The faith-laden speeches, the carefully staged family photos, the cryptic remarks about destiny and purpose. It all feels less like sincerity and more like strategy. Remember that painfully awkward moment when J.D. Vance stood on stage and said his greatest wish was for Usha to convert to Catholicism? It sounded naive, even tone-deaf, and deeply inconsiderate. But beneath the surface, it was a calculated political move. That single line delivered exactly the message the ultra-conservative base wanted to hear. She's different, but I'm still one of you. From that moment, everything shifted. Insiders stopped seeing Usha as the intelligent, composed woman they once admired, and began viewing her as an obstacle, something that needed to be moved aside before JD could fully launch his 2028 campaign. And here's the real heartbreak. Usha Vance had shown nothing but loyalty to both JD and Erika Kirk herself. She was there when Charlie Kirk passed away. She held Erika's hand, stood beside her at the memorial, and that viral photo, Erika with her head on Usha's shoulder, tears streaming down, wasn't staged. That was real compassion. Usha had been the one who helped Erika speak to Charlie's children, who shielded her from the paparazzi, who coordinated press releases to protect the Kirk family's privacy. And now, just months later, the woman she once comforted was re-entering her husband's life as if nothing had happened. It wasn't just emotional pain, it was betrayal in full public view, and the audience felt it too. Because this story isn't merely about heartbreak or envy. It's about how power can twist loyalty into strategy and turn emotion into political theater. The timing was too perfect to be random. Turning Point USA's audience was evolving. They wanted a fresh, youthful, photogenic conservative duo, and if J.D. Vance hoped to secure his future within the MAGA movement, Erika Kirk was the perfect fit. Whatever the case, Turning Point USA operates like a machine, skilled at crafting narratives, feeding stories to the media, and transforming viral moments into political momentum. And right now, every signal pointed to a single direction: the rise of JD and Erika, MAGA's new golden pair, ready or not. And this is where the whispers began: the secret MAGA dinner. The alleged spark that ignited everything. According to insiders, it was no ordinary gathering. It brought together powerful MAGA figures, faith leaders, and political strategists to quietly discuss the 2028 election cycle. The evening started calm and controlled, but when JD and Usha entered, the energy shifted instantly. They didn't walk side by side. No smiles, no hand-holding, barely a glance. The tension was undeniable. When the seating chart was revealed, JD was placed at the table of honor, as expected. But the seat beside him wasn't reserved for Usha, or even a senior official. It was for Erika Kirk. No one believed that was an accident. Everyone understood the unspoken message, a silent display of power. Meanwhile, Usha was seated 3 tables back, alongside sponsors and local organizers. It was a subtle but deliberate gesture. Still, she stayed composed, smiling, polite, calm, but a keen eye could see her jaw tighten. She was furious, yet completely in control. Usha wasn't one to create scenes unless she had to. As the event wound down, guests mingled, took photos, and exchanged pleasantries. That's when it happened. One insider claimed, Usha waited until JD stepped outside to greet supporters. When Erika was alone, she approached, calm, precise, and ready to end it. She looked directly at Erika, her voice steady, her eyes unwavering. A silent confrontation, but powerful enough to freeze the room. No one knows the exact words, but rumors say someone nearby recorded the exchange. That supposed recording has been circulating in private groups ever since. Leaks describe Usha's tone as cold and firm. You can fool them with your tears, but you will not rewrite my life to serve your campaign. The room fell silent. Even the servers froze mid-step. It felt as though a long-buried truth had surfaced in one sharp breath. Erika, trying to maintain her composure, reportedly replied softly, "We should unite. Usha, for Charlie's legacy." But Usha wasn't buying it. According to witnesses, she calmly said, "Don't use Charlie's name to disguise your ambitions." And with that, the atmosphere shattered. Laughter faded. Conversation stopped. All that remained was heavy silence, and the sense that the real storm had just begun. Witnesses said Erika's face went pale. Her confidence, that polished public glow, vanished in seconds. She wasn't prepared for the silent strength Usha displayed. When JD realized what had happened, he rushed to diffuse the tension. But Usha just looked at him, one sharp, cutting stare. No words, no argument, just a look that said everything. You chose, now I will choose. From that night, the story spread like wildfire. Whispers of confrontation, betrayal, and a mysterious recording swept through the political elite. A recording that could dismantle their entire public image overnight. Because if that tape truly existed, and ever leaked, the damage wouldn't stop at a marriage. It could end a political career. Before leaving, Usha reportedly turned to JD and said, "You made your choice. Now it's my turn." From then on, she was different. Not emotional, not loud, but composed and strategic. Gone was the woman seen weeping quietly in the background. In her place stood a woman of calculation. Behind that calm smile, a plan was already unfolding. One capable of toppling an entire campaign. Usha didn't post online, didn't give interviews. But word spread quickly that she was working quietly. Remember, she's not a typical political spouse. She's a Yale-educated attorney with a sharper mind than most of JD's advisors. She knows how to gather evidence, build leverage, and strike with precision. From that point, insiders say she began reaching out to major donors and old legal allies, people JD thought were securely in his corner. Now they were listening to her. As for Erika, the silence was deafening. No statements, no denials, no posts about faith or forgiveness. And for someone once known for daily verses and soft-lit photos about healing, that silence spoke volumes, a controlled crisis. Because if that recording ever surfaced, if the world heard Usha's own voice, it wouldn't just ruin Erika's image or JD's ambitions. It would collapse the very myth that MAGA's PR machine had built, the image of faith, loyalty, and family unity. That illusion is now trembling. Conservative circles are buzzing. Podcasts, commentary shows, private forums. Everyone is talking. Some claim a wealthy donor holds the recording, waiting for the most chaotic moment to release it. Others whisper that Usha herself has the copy, saving it as leverage, her final move. One prominent commentator even hinted that someone close to the Vance family holds a powerful card, and anyone following the story knew exactly who he meant. For JD, the timing couldn't be worse. Every word, every photo, every glance is being dissected by the public. Even simple family pictures now look staged. Carefully crafted campaign propaganda. He's trying to appear normal, but the cracks are visible. And if that recording ever leaks, even a few seconds, it could destroy everything overnight. Meanwhile, Erika's online tone has only made things worse. Her vague emotional posts about faith and perseverance no longer sound inspiring. They sound defensive. To the public, she now appears less like a saintly figure and more like a calculated player. It's a familiar pattern. Play the victim, stay silent, wait for sympathy, then re-emerge with a new chapter. But Usha is different. She doesn't post. She doesn't argue. Her silence is the message. She moves carefully, methodically, gathering evidence and waiting for the perfect moment. And when she acts, it won't be through social media or interviews. It will be final. Because if the rumors are true, if that recording really exists, this isn't about love or jealousy anymore. It's a cold, calculated political war dressed in elegance and smiles. And when the truth surfaces, it won't just reveal personal betrayal. It will expose the full machinery of power beneath the MAGA spotlight. Everyone close to JD knows one thing for sure. When Usha Vance decides to act, she doesn't play. She ends the game. Turning Point USA didn't crumble after Charlie Kirk's death. It grew stronger. Donations soared, new chapters formed, and JD seized the moment, aligning himself with the movement's new face, Erika Kirk. But few dared say what insiders whispered. Erika wasn't chasing affection. She was chasing influence. Before the JD wave began, she'd already tried to connect with Trump and failed. When that door closed, she turned toward JD, MAGA's next rising star. From that point, every gesture, every appearance, every photo was deliberate. A carefully planned political campaign disguised as romance. But there was one obstacle. Usha Vance. Intelligent, poised, and now, quietly ready to fight back. That tense dinner wasn't gossip. It was a warning shot. Usha made herself clear. You will not rewrite my life for your political ambition. Now the conservative base is fractured. MAGA's inner circle is on edge. One wrong step could collapse everything they've built. Make no mistake, this isn't a love story. It's a battle for power, fought with smiles, designer gowns, and photo ops on the political stage. And it's only just beginning.